Welcome to the AI Central Podcast, brought to you by Human Driven AI. That's right, the Human Driven AI podcast is now called AI Central. We got a new name, a new set, and a whole lot of new tech to talk about. I'm Jennifer Jones Mitchell.
And I'm Dr. David Mitchell.
Let's get into it. So today, honey, what I want to talk about is avatars, because it seems like right now, every AI company, every tech company is pushing for people to create their own avatar or their own digital twin. So this is HeyGen, Synthesia, Meta, Zoom, TikTok. They're all trying to get us to do this. And I don't know if you remember, but I actually predicted this back in, I guess it was November, December of 2023, when we went downtown. I presented at that conference, DigiMarCon.
DigiMarCon, yep.
Yep, and I told that audience that very, very soon we will all have digital, I called it avatars of ourselves, but digital twins. Mm. And I remember somebody in the audience saying, why on earth would we want to do that?
Right.
And I said, well, I only speak English. My avatar, my digital twin, can speak every language. And then you have the advantage of, content creation, of course. It takes a lot of time to do the hair and makeup and get everything ready for video shoots and stuff. So to be able to have a digital twin to do a talking head video would be very helpful, yeah?
It really would, yeah. Seriously, it'd save a lot of time. I have to set all these lights up and hang stuff on the walls and set the cameras up.
Exactly.
It's much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I've been a little hesitant to do it, as you know.
Right.
I did, for our audience sake, our listeners' sake, I did start to create an avatar of myself on Synthesia. If you do create this, be prepared to do several takes. We both started to do one, right?
Yeah, I did too, actually.
Yeah, and we ran into, learn from us people here. So first of all, I'm a naturally smiling person. I just smile. That's just who I am. So when you record your avatar, you're in front of a green screen and you read a script and stuff. And so I was smiling during it. So my first avatar looked insane. She's just smiling earnestly at you, just crazy. And then I overcorrected on the second one. She looked really, really angry. And then you had the height issue, right?
Yes. So mine, they put the script at the top of the screen. So I'm trying to sort of read a script. And I have bifocals on, unfortunately. So I'm going like this. So my avatar is doing this the whole time. And I'm trying to read it, yeah. So I had to sort of put it on the right height of books and get it right where I wanted it. And then try not to squint.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of, keep my eyes open and stay level. It's tricky. It's harder than you might think, actually.
It really is, yeah.
Perfect take, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I haven't released or created the final version of my avatar because it occurred to me that, I'm going to create this digital twin with these companies, some of whom are owned by China or Chinese owned, I should say.
Yeah.
So I took all the terms and conditions and put it in a ChatGPT because I wanted to know, am I handing over my likeness to these companies?
Right.
And it's interesting. I actually have some of the terms and conditions here. I will say that HeyGen and Synthesia originally were the ones that their original terms and conditions did say that they would own the license. They have since changed that. I fed all these terms and conditions into ChatGPT and asked it to, tell me, who owns it, what is the risk here.
Right.
So they've changed theirs, but Meta says, quote, while you retain ownership of your avatar, your digital twin, you are also granting Meta a non-exclusive, transferable, sub-licensable, royalty-free, worldwide license to use it.
Wow. Holy cow.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the language alone it makes your head spin. But yeah, basically this says that Meta can use your likeness. And then I looked at TikTok also basically says that you are granting TikTok a broad license to use, reproduce, and distribute your digital twin. This includes any likenesses featured in your video, TikTok can basically use it across the entire platform and services. The others basically have an opt-in now, where you can opt in to allow them to use your likeness, your digital twin or avatar, for training purposes and things like that. But right now, Meta and TikTok are the ones I would stay away from it for the moment.
Well, that reminds me of the No Fakes Act.
Oh, yeah.
In the works in Congress, right? So I wrote a blog post or two about this for the Atlanta Student Music Committee, where I'm the director of ed. And it was fascinating, though, because, basically what it says is that no one can use your likeness, sound or voice likeness, or music, too, including music, without your permission. But that hasn't been passed yet. So that's why these companies, I bet, are getting you, like, under contract.
Yeah.
So they get your likeness.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And then the law will pass, So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it needs to be where that you can opt in or out for them to use it. And that needs to be the law, because this is too powerful a tool to let someone run around with your likeness and your voice.
Exactly.
And sound. They could do anything with it,
Yeah, and it could be at risk of hacking. Somebody could get it, a bad actor could get it.
Yeah.
And then who knows what they would do with it. It's just, it's really very interesting. Yeah, I forgot about that. So that has not passed, you said.
Not yet, but it's working its way through.
Yeah, that's why they're changing there. You're right. You called it. Called it. Well, I do encourage all of you, if you are looking into creating a digital twin or an avatar, I get it. I want to do it myself. Make sure you look at the terms and conditions, and make sure you look at your permissions, because even the opt-in, you know how sneaky they can be sometimes. They opt you in and you have to opt out.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that's the case right now. At least with HeyGen and Synthesia, you have to opt in to allow them to use it. But, they change these things all the time. So, but it's interesting. It's definitely the trend. I also was thinking about this in terms of Gen Z. We were talking the other day about all the struggles that Gen Z is having in the workplace. I read a story where IBM is teaching classes to teach them how to have conversations and make eye contact.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense. This is a generation that really grew up fully in a digital world.
Yeah, and then they were isolated during the pandemic too, so that's a whole thing, right?
Yeah, during those are key years. Our own kiddo, I know, is more comfortable in kind of the Discord metaverse as an avatar.
Doesn't like making phone calls.
Doesn't like making phone calls. Yeah. And that's funny, because I remember when I was running a PR agency, and even before that, actually, when I was a group leader at some agencies, we would be trained on millennials. We were taught how to manage millennials because they didn't like making phone calls. Because I don't know if our listeners know, my background is PR. And in the early days of PR, when I first started working in it, you would smile and dial. You would literally call up reporters and pitch stories.
Yeah.
And I could not get millennials to pick up the phone and call a reporter. They just wouldn't do it.
That's wild.
Yeah, and Gen Z is even more so. So I wonder if this kind of professional business push to use avatar, especially in like Zoom and stuff, to use avatars, I wonder if that's something that Gen Z will embrace wholeheartedly, because they would rather, I'm obviously painting broad strokes here of an entire generation, because I certainly know some Gen Zers who are very good at meetings. Laura's son Cameron doesn't fit the mold that we're talking about. But there are Gen Zers who I know struggle with it. So I wonder if avatars, particularly on Zoom and in these kind of meetings, will make things easier for them.
It could, yeah. Seems like it would, yeah. But, I think with any of these products or AI and everything that you're using, I like your trick of taking the terms and conditions and putting them in chatbot or chat.
Yeah, ChatGPT or Claude, any of them, really.
Yeah. And then you could kind of have it summarize what the terms are, or you can ask it sort of, does this say that it owns my image and my likeness and those types of things? And it's very powerful, because I know for me, a million times I get to the, you're about to download a product or you want to buy something, and then they give you the terms and conditions. I never read that.
Nobody
just
does.
Like click, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And but that's not the way to do it, because you're going to wind up getting into a situation where they've got you in a bind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're counting on you not reading it. And yeah, I first put them in there and asked it to summarize, but you have to be very clear about summarize it in like 3 paragraphs or something, because it will still be an immense thing. So I actually prefer the latter of what you said there, where the dog's barking. I don't know if the mic will pick that up, but
Yeah, well.
Okay, that's all right. Let her bark. But yeah, so I like to ask questions when I put any terms and conditions in, to specifically say who will own my likeness, or, whatever it is you're concerned about, because otherwise you're going to get a summary that's just as long as the terms and conditions.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that, I'm seeing, you mentioned with the Deep Fakes Act, and you have to, no, I'm sorry, what is it called? The
No Fakes Act.
No Fakes Act.
Yeah.
I knew I said it wrong. But I know that a lot of celebrities now are licensing their own avatars. They're creating avatars of themselves and licensing it for use in very controlled, very specific ways.
Yeah.
Specifically, mainly what I've seen or heard is mainly around commercials.
Okay.
So it's a way for them to make some money.
Without having to even show up.
Without having to even show up. It's crazy. And even voiceovers, they're doing, allowing their likeness of their voice for voiceovers in commercials as well, which is funny because a voiceover gig is like the easiest gig for an actor.
Yeah.
But they're even going to use that with AI now, I think, a lot of celebrities.
Yeah. Well, and then also I was just reading an article. There's a new Tom Hanks movie that's going to come out. It's called Here.
Yeah.
And I was reading about it in the New York Times, and they hired an AI company, and they took Tom Hanks's old films and scraped him, and of course he signed up for it. But it's a film that's going to go back and show Tom Hanks as a young man.
Oh, wow.
And it's like through his whole life. So it's him really, really young, and they use like all the old footage of him. And the reporter said he went in to a meeting with the head of this AI company in Hollywood, and he was able to sit down in front of a computer screen. His own face is there, and he could speak, and he would see Tom Hanks's face, like speaking, like perfectly.
Wow.
So it's basically where you can take an actor that can stand in front of a camera and act it, and do all of his same motions and voice inflections and everything, but it takes the old Tom Hanks image and it's him talking.
That is crazy.
They said it's like seamless and instantaneous and like perfect, and
So it's not going to look like that what was that train CG animation movie he did where
yeah, it's not going to look
they
like
look
that.
dead.
It's the uncanny valley where it looks too. It's not real enough, but it's also
Polar
too real.
Express.
Polar Express.
Yeah.
It's close to reality, but not. It's creepy.
Creepy.
Yeah,
Because
it's a
they're
little
not
creepy.
breathing and there's no soul or life in their eyes. So it's going to be better than that. That was
it's gonna look-
decades ago now, right?
Yeah, it's going to look seamless. So it's going to be Tom Hanks acting and saying new things in a new film, but it's going to be the old Tom Hanks and through the years. So you'll kind of see him like at different ages.
That's
from
wild.
young to old. Yeah. So they can. Yeah, I mean, exactly. They can make. So you could take another actor and portray a different actor, someone that's even dead, and you could have an actor act like them and then make them look young,
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, that's going to I mean,
But they said it's going to be a boom for Hollywood. It's going to
Yeah.
be huge. Yeah, it's going to be lots of amazing movies and profits and all kinds of stuff. So
I wonder, I mean, it'll certainly be profitable for Hollywood, for sure. But I wonder the impact on new and up-and-coming talent. Does it create fewer opportunities for them if they can use a teenage Tom Hanks instead of some
right.
new...
Yeah, they were talking about that. That could be a problem for new actors to break in,
Because who can compete against Tom Hanks?
Right. Yeah.
Especially with that tub falling scene. Oh, my God. What is that movie that it makes me laugh every time?
Oh, yeah.
Money Pit.
Money Pit.
Let
yeah.
me just tell you, if you're having a bad day, pull up the clip. It's a terrible movie, but the movie is called Money Pit, and there's a scene where the tub falls through, and Tom Hanks is just at his wit's end and just is laughing hysterically. Whenever I'm sad, I watch that, and I can't help but laugh. So there's my tip from me to you. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I think it's fascinating how celebrities have this opportunity to license themselves to create all kinds of new content. But then, of course, you've got the risks with that as well. This is just creepy, but I saw a story where I don't remember where, somewhere in the U.S., some middle school students, the boys, were creating deep fake porn and putting the faces of their fellow female middle school students.
Yeah.
And putting that on the internet, which is just beyond devastating for that student, but also the fact that the internet's forever.
Yeah.
So that little girl's going to grow up, and that fake porn is out there of her when she was 11 years old.
Yeah, it's terrible. Wow. But yeah, it's a very powerful tool, and it can be used for nefarious means or good means,
Yeah.
And but that's why you have to have the No Fakes Act, and then that would cover those types of situations. Anybody that did that would be liable, and legally and civilly liable for doing that, and that's a big deal, to do that to someone. So. So these laws would make that both civilly and criminally, they would be liable if you do anything like that.
I would hope so. When do you think that's going to pass? Do you know?
It was working its way through Congress, and of course now we're in political season. But I would say maybe after the new administration comes in, I'd probably get it done. Hopefully. But actually, saw a thing about where Europe and the U.S. are racing to get laws passed. Europe is like racing ahead of the U.S. and the U.S. is falling behind. So they're trying to catch up to them. So it's actually become a good thing. They're both passing a lot of laws to protect people, and I think that really needs to be done because it's a super powerful tool. But in the wrong hands, it could do a lot of nefarious things. For sure.
My God, yeah. Well, that's the way it was too with social media. If I recall correctly, is Europe took a much stronger stance in terms of regulating social. Than we did in the U.S. And then we were a little late to catch up. And of course, we did that thing where we're like letting the companies police themselves, which is never a good idea. Right. I mean, I know that government regulation is something that, we also don't want to have the pendulum swing too far the other way, but we have to have government regulation with AI. We just do. I mean, there are too many risks, as you said.
Yep. And but if we can get it done right and make it work right, then it could be a very powerful tool that could supercharge the economy.
Oh, yeah. It really well, it already is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. Now, you were telling me about a scam. I mean, I know it's wrong. I know what he did was wrong. But it was so genius. He was a musician who created a scam where he used AI to generate streams.
So he created a bunch of fake band names and had AI just generate a bunch of fake albums, and music and stuff, and put them on there, and then would have the AI play the tracks thousands of times over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was able to trick it, and so he tricked him out of millions of dollars of streaming services by having an AI bot play his fake bands and albums. And we could probably bring this up and have an image of it and show you what it looks like, but fake bands and albums and fake songs that were just not very good. They're just playing them over and over and over again, millions of times. So I think he got sued. It was like a scam because it actually says in the contract, and I have a contract with the streaming services as well, that you're not allowed to do that. Just play your own song over and over again, and you have to say you're not going to do that. So yeah, he's going to get. There'll be some legal repercussions there and some money to be returned.
Yeah, sure. I would imagine. But I mean, a part of me cheers him on because he's the first guy to make millions off of streaming.
That's true.
Just by having those bots go out and play the music.
Right.
You gotta admit it's pretty genius.
yeah, it is genius. Yeah, I'm like, wow, why did I think of that?
I know, right? I mean, I know it's criminal. It's criminal.
I'd never do anything like that.
But it cracks me up though, because it really, but it also makes me realize, again, going back to my background originally is PR, and we do a lot of crisis communications, of course. And I've handled, product recalls and death of CEO. I mean, it's amazing the number of things that you have to deal with to protect a brand's reputation when something goes wrong. But I wonder how much we're going to see of brand attacks like that, because if you can train bots to go stream a bunch of music, you could train bots to go post a bunch of negative reviews about your top competitor.
Yeah, you really could. I know. Yeah, I don't know how you would fix that, right?
Yeah, well, I think
beyond my technical capabilities.
It comes down, I think, to I think AI is, of course, doing a million things, but it's also having a huge impact on PR in the sense of, first of all, I think brands need to start watermarking all of their content, because very soon you're going to have a truth. You're going to have to be able to point to some content and say, this is true. This is our branded content. And having either an audio or a digital watermark gives you that source of truth. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So if it doesn't have that watermark, you can say this is a fake. And we're certainly going to need that as people start creating deep fakes to manipulate markets and all of that. Mm-hmm. But then even that example of a brand attack, of creating negative reviews or creating false stories and things like that, I think crisis comms is going to change as well.
Yeah.
You're going to have to not only do the proactive watermarking, but I think you're going to have to train your spokespeople on how to talk about AI. You're going to have to, really prepare to address these issues, and just monitoring is going to have to change as well, so that you can see if there are suddenly all of these fake reviews or whatever that attack on your brand's reputation may be.
Yeah. So if you don't learn to deal with AI now, you will have to later.
Exactly.
So you better get on that, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the old adage around crisis comms: those who fail to plan to fail.
Exactly. Yeah.
You gotta prepare for it without a doubt. And I will say that about the watermarks, I do think Google has Synth ID, seems to be kind of the industry standard right now. I think we're going to see a lot more different options around watermarks. I know you and I have talked about creating some audio watermarks as well, and looking into that for clients. But right now, I do recommend all of you marketers out there look into Google Synth ID. This is not a commercial. It's not paid promotion or anything, but they're the ones that do have some easy to use watermarking that can protect some of your branded content. I think there's just so much happening right now. It's always exciting in AI, right?
It is. Yeah, I'm very excited about it, because there's so much possibility, really.
Yeah.
And in the way that actually Bill Gates was talking about this, it's the first technology that has no limits. Mm-hmm. Because like a computer program like Pro Tools or audio program, or it can only do one task,
right?
And it can make audio, it can make, but AI can do all of this. It can do everything. It can create video, it can create pictures, and you can brainstorm with it. You can make a business plan. It's unlimited. It's only limited by your imagination. Yeah, and I think in what you've been doing, you're kind of making stuff up as you go with AI. It's pretty fascinating.
I really am.
Clients,
yeah, I'm having a great time, because clients come to me with problems, and I'm really having a lot of fun using AI to figure out how to solve them. I had one client that was just spending 100, 200 hours every month on translations. So they were a smaller agency, so they really weren't ready to invest in a custom LLM. So I helped them I helped train a custom GPT to handle all of their translations. And it's working like gangbusters. It's already reduced the amount of time that they spend on it by, I think she said, by as much as 50 to 60%.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you always want to have your human review. I can't stress this enough. AI should create your first draft, not your final draft. So if you do use it for translations, do make sure you have that human review. But, I trained that GPT to first, the user has to first confirm that they are not sharing any private company information, and they've anonymized everything. It will not complete the prompt until They confirm that. And then it asks a series of questions about the translation. Is it a literal translation? Is it contextual? Is it academic? Who's the audience? All these things that do impact the output.
Yeah.
And you have to answer all of that before it does any translation.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, but it's fun. It's problem solving. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
I love it. I love AI.
That's probably a good place to wrap it up, huh?
All right. Well, with that, we will wrap it up. But hope you like the new set. Hope you liking the new name, AI Central. And we're going to get back to publishing, putting these out on a regular basis. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.